Welcome to day 4 of How to Eat for Emotional Stability in Turbulent Times. I'm Kate, I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, and I'm the founder of Regenerative Cooking School. Today's topic is intuitive eating, and it's one of my favorite things to share with people because it is truly a life-changing way to eat and a wonderful way to eat. Intuitive eating does not mean that you allow yourself to eat whatever you feel on a whim. Intuitive eating, rather, is the process of being in connection with your body and understanding what your body needs at a certain time. We have different metabolic states and different metabolic needs constantly, and Mother Nature gifted us with something amazing, and that is our taste and our sense of smell. All of our senses can guide us to what we need to be eating. One of the first things that you need to do is you need to eliminate processed foods. These processed foods have the capacity to block our senses. And when our senses are blocked, we can't be in touch with exactly what we're needing at the time, what our metabolic states are requiring. Another thing that you can do to increase your capacity for intuitive eating is to eliminate chemical fragrances. Chemical fragrances will actually take up the space in our noses where we have olfactory receptors that bind certain smells. So these smells are how we can sense our food. And if you look at an animal in nature would never eat their food without sniffing it first. Well, the same goes for humans. We should really be smelling, tasting, touching our food before we dive in and have a meal. And anytime a food isn't attractive to you, there's no reason to eat it, because that is a sign from your body that it's not the right food for you at that time. When we're on a schedule of clean eating, then we can start to understand what the body needs through our intuition or our instincts. And this is really what intuitive eating is. It's a way of knowing your body's needs so that your taste, your senses, all of your desires for food are directing you to the foods that are right for you at this time. I'll start by asking myself a series of questions. What am I in the mood for? What am I thinking about eating? What would make me so excited to eat right now? If that food is a food that I know would be nourishing to me, then I can do a few questions of elimination. Do I have that food in my pantry? Am I capable of making that food in this amount of time? What do I need to do in order to get that food in my body at some point? Let's say that food was like an ice cream cone. Like I was like, oh, I really want to eat an ice cream cone. Well, at that point, I would ask myself, okay, what do you want about the ice cream cone? Is it that you want a fun experience, maybe with a friend, and you're really craving something social? Do you want something cold and refreshing because it's a hot day? Or are you feeling a little bad for yourself and really need a pick-me-up? And those are the type of questions where I can then choose to be honest with myself or to ignore the truth, okay? And that's a way of interacting with my intuition. So let's say on some of my best days, I'll go ahead and say, you know what, I really want to have this special ceremony and experience with a friend of mine or with my partner, and so I'm going to ask him if he wants to take this special date with me and go get an ice cream cone. And I'm going to take the precautions that I need to before I eat the ice cream, like drinking some ginger tea, maybe getting a small amount of ice cream, not overdoing it, and being absolutely sure that I enjoy it the entire time that I eat the ice cream cone. So as you can see, there are certain ways that I would talk to myself and understand what my cravings really are and where they're coming from in order to then make an informed choice that's best for me. And sometimes that looks like go ahead and having the ice cream. And sometimes that looks like, nope, that's not the right food for me right now. That craving means something else, and that's for me to figure out and understand. Intuitive eating doesn't mean that you get to eat whatever you want on a whim. And if you do have a craving for a sweet food or a sugary food, really investigate with yourself what is going on inside. Another thing that animals do in the wild is they'll take a small little bite of something to see if it's the right thing for them. So let's say holidays are coming up and you're at a party and there's so many cookies and you're like, oh my gosh, I could totally slam 5 cookies. That's like my habit. That's what I do. No problem. I'm gonna have some cookies and cocktails. But what happens if you just wait? You just sense your body, you introduce yourself to a few people, you say hello, and you go back to the cookie table. Now, I'm not suggesting that you put your face in the public cookies and smell all of them, but you could grab one cookie, put it on your plate, and take a little nibble and see how that feels. You could chew it slowly, taste it, really taste it in your mouth, and see if your body says yes or no. And if your body says no, don't eat any more of that cookie. Don't have any guilt for throwing it away, and just set it down. No need to go back to it. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for our 5th day of How to Eat for Emotional Stability During Turbulent Times. I'm Kate, and this is brought to you by Regenerative Cooking School.